Thackeray, for speaking to us here on Mirror Now. My first question to you is this, of course, extremely important policy that you have implemented at this point in time. What is it that led you to advance the implementation of policy by a few months?
Thank you for having me on this show, and thank you for doing a show on electric mobility, actually. And it's time that we start thinking of electric mobility and alternative fuels, including hydrogen fuel cells and everything, to do with clean mobility. Obviously, in terms of our EV policy, we are looking largely at public transport and the buses that run in our city. We'll also move on to three-wheelers and two-wheelers very soon. Having said that, last year we made a decision when we brought in the policy that from 1st April 2022, the government in urban areas would only buy or rent electric vehicles. But when we were discussing this, with the chief minister, with the deputy chief minister, we started believing that, of course, why waste 4 months? If you're anyway procuring vehicles or renting vehicles in urban areas, that will be only electric for the government. Why not start from 1st Jan itself? And that's why we've started on a great note for our commitment towards clean mobility.
Okay. In your view, the kind of boost that this is going to give, in terms of encouraging people also to opt for electric vehicles and also the sector as well, how much of a fillip do you think this is going to give?
I'll tell you, I have some figures with me right now in terms of pre-EV policy 2021 and now. The registrations in Maharashtra up by 157%. So, for example, in the year 2020 to 2021, in the state, we had almost about 9,416 registrations for EVs. In 2021 to 2022, after the policy came in, we've got 24,215 EVs registered. In the city of Mumbai itself, it's jumped from 1,422 to about 3,059. And, a lot of vehicles have been booked, but not delivered because of the semiconductor chip issue. So we believe that, the government vehicles being electric will give a boost, but largely encourage more citizens to believe that it's no longer about the range or charging problems. It's good enough to buy an EV and move around in an EV.
Okay. You point out an important statistic there that registrations in Maharashtra are up 150% when it comes to this particular space. The other aspect, of course, is the infrastructure, because while demand, will possibly see a continuing increase going forward, to keeping up the infrastructure with that demand is also going to be extremely crucial. Can you give us, shed some light on what the plans for that aspect are?
It's largely a chicken and egg story because, once you have vehicles being delivered, a lot of people, a lot of housing societies, buildings, offices, government offices, corporate offices are looking at creating infrastructure with, charging infrastructure, be it public or private. Also, for us as a state, while giving permissions to larger projects, we are mandating that EV charging infrastructure be in place for newer projects that are coming in, be it for housing societies or corporate offices. I think that is very, very crucial. Obviously, it's only after the EVs that will increase on the roads that you'll see a lot more charging infrastructure, because that is getting more uniform, that is increasing daily in terms of people requiring more charging infrastructure and getting more charging infrastructure. So I believe that it will go hand in hand. We cannot be upping one while waiting for the other.
Okay. Like you pointed out that, charging stations is going to be one important aspect. It will have to be included by societies, for example, or other areas as well. But from the government perspective, if we look at it on highways, etc., in other parts of the city, any sort of numbers or targets that you have in mind of charging stations?
So we've already, in the Unified DCR of Maharashtra, we've already notified all the petrol pumps as fuel and alternative fuel stations. So that is very, very crucial for us, because it will not just be electric. In the future, it could be hydrogen as well, or biofuels as well. So we'll have to look at a 360-degree perspective. Two, we're looking at our public parking lots across Maharashtra, wherever we have urban cities especially. There we're looking at more charging infrastructure. Crucial highways like Mumbai-Pune, Mumbai-Nagpur, Mumbai-Bengaluru, Mumbai-Delhi corridor, all of these, and Pune-Kolhapur, all of these highways are getting charging infrastructure in the next few months. So that is very crucial for us. All our bus depots, we're looking at converting or also to having charging infrastructure. A lot of BST bus depots in Mumbai couple of bus depots in Navi Mumbai, Thane, Pune have already got parking infrastructure, charging infrastructure. So these are a couple of things that we've already started work on.
Okay. What about, other logistical issues that you believe will need to be rectified or addressed when you look at boosting this particular space and encouraging more and more people to buy electric vehicles? And also, would you also be looking to the center? Because obviously this is something that the center has also been pushing for, incentives for electric vehicles, support from the center in any manner.
I think it's both ways. Firstly, Maharashtra has the most dynamic EV policy right now, and we're working shoulder to shoulder with many global think tanks to keep it up to date every month. We have meetings with all stakeholders, be it of two-wheeler producers, three-wheelers, buses, people who are into charging infrastructure, so that we can update our policy and keep it dynamic so that it's easier for the customers to buy it, easier for people to produce it and sell it in Maharashtra. So that is one. But two large factors I see that will, are crucial to this. One is, of course, supporting our electric mobility with clean energy or renewable energy. I think that is one, and that's what we're working on in Maharashtra very actively. This is where I would also like the center to think about nationally as a policy. And two, retail finance for people who want to buy EVs and want to make it affordable. Now in Maharashtra, typically a two-wheeler electric bike is at par or cheaper than an ICE bike or a petrol diesel bike. In the long term, of course, a four-wheeler that is electric, a bus that is electric, or a two-wheeler that is electric, looking at the petrol diesel prices, it is affordable. But there are some vehicles which are, the expensive ones. If they can be made more affordable, or of course you have better loans for that, I think that is where private banks and retail finance will come in. So these are two sectors that I think that we need to work closely with, and we already, as government of Maharashtra, working closely with them to bring out a couple of comprehensive policies for the same.
Right. Mr. Thackeray, of course, like we've been talking about, this is going to be extremely crucial, even from the perspective, obviously, of the pollution issue, which is now no longer limited only to Delhi or the northern states. It is a pan-India issue. But from the point of view of pollution, is this really the magic bullet of sorts that cities need at this point in time, and the fact that other states and cities should also be following suit now?
No, there's no magic bullet. I mean, for pollution or climate change action, there's mitigation, there's resilience, and there's adaptation. In terms of when we speak about electric mobility or alternative fuel mobility, we're looking at decarbonizing our transport sector. For moving ahead in terms of a better environment, we need to decarbonize our energy sector very rapidly, which India is committed to phasing down coal by in the next few years when we spoke at COP26. And we're looking at decarbonizing our transport sector. In the transport sector as well, we need to decarbonize our public transport sector very rapidly, because that is easily controllable by the government. The scale is huge. So public transport, aggregators, corporates, travel tourism sector, where you have organized sectors, that is easily decarbonizable in the next 2 or 3 years. And that is really the target for us. So that is one. But if you really want to reduce pollution along with decarbonizing energy and transport, you need to have, you need to protect your forests. You need to protect what you have. You need to indulge in afforestation. You need to increase your green cover. I think these are some of the areas we need to think about nationally and at a federal level as well.
Given the problem that, pollution is, especially in many of our big cities and metros, if you've been in touch with any of the global think tanks on what they believe needs to be done, obviously this entire move, this policy would be one important measure that needs to be put in place.
Yes, for example, now that Maharashtra is a part of, the climate group, we're working with the climate group very, very closely. We're also working with C40 cities. Mumbai is a part of C40 globally. Rocky Mountain Institute helped us, draw out the entire plan for the EV policy. We're also working very closely with WRI, Ross Center, Bloomberg, because really, like I mentioned, there's no magic bullet, but it's piece by piece. It's very, very symptomatic in terms of pollution, but it's also the larger climate action plan that needs to be in place. So, for example, Maharashtra today, we have the Mumbai Climate Action Policy that's being worked out right now and will be declared in a month's time. We've got 43 cities with 6.5 crore population, roughly that of France or UK. A part of carbon neutral cities very soon. So we're doing a greenhouse gas inventory. We're working on Race to Zero along with that. So we have to work together with every possible region in the world, every possible country in the world, because you've got multiple solutions, you've got technology coming in, you've got innovations coming in. All you need to do is ensure that its implementation, it's practical, is rapid. The road is not very simple ahead, but you've got to, get it on ground and get it implemented because it's the need of the hour.
Right. Aditya Thackeray, you spoke about, decarbonizing public transport, the larger climate policy. All of these are important issues that need to be adopted and put in place going forward. What is your own vision if we look at Maharashtra and this policy that has been implemented? How do you see it developing further? What would you like to see it develop and evolve into going forward?
I think we're looking at carbon neutral Maharashtra in the next about 20 years time or probably earlier, which is, I keep saying this to people that we say 20 years or 10 years. Obviously, every action of every one of us produces a carbon footprint. If we can do something to offset it, that is very important. Decarbonizing energy and decarbonizing transport largely depends on technology and innovations. Something that, there is no dearth of in the world. What we need to do is really have political will towards it. Thankfully, the Chief Minister, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, being a wildlife enthusiast, hardcore conservationist, and knowing the balance between development and sustainability, we're moving towards a sustainable development in Maharashtra, be it the sustainable development goals for everyone or for our environment. I think we realize that we need to have a better planet, a safer planet, which comes through a better environment, and that's what we're working towards.
Absolutely, Ms. Thackeray, extremely important points that you've mentioned on this particular policy. But since I have you here with us, if I can put across a question on the COVID situation currently in Maharashtra, numbers are rising. And obviously, we've seen how, the BMC, for example, has changed the way of reporting numbers, which is extremely important right now in terms of understanding the asymptomatic cases, among other things. In terms of the infrastructure, in terms of what we are seeing right now, what can you tell us?
So our cases are rising rapidly. Of course, there's an exponential growth, rising by at least 1,000 cases, at least in Mumbai every single day. We'll be probably around 10,000 anywhere today. Having said that, we have upped our medical facilities, our hospitals, our oxygen supply, all of that is in place. While I say that there is no need to fear or have panic about this whole situation, the numbers really are worrisome. We're looking at almost 400 people getting hospitalized with mild fever, cold, cough, sore throat every single day. Even though there's this whole thing of WhatsApps going around saying let's not worry about it, it's very it's not severe at all. I think let's leave that to the doctors. What I would want to tell everyone is, yes, extreme caution is needed. Masking up is very, very important. If you can work from home, do that. And most importantly, don't believe that anything is less severe or it's just cold or cough. When you get impacted by COVID, one person out in the hospital is equally important to us. So irrespective of what numbers are, we don't need to fear or panic, but we need to exercise extreme caution. I think that is very, very crucial for us.
Right. Absolutely, Mr. Thackeray. In fact, like you pointed out, the crucial takeaway here is that there's no reason to panic, no reason to fear, but the precautions need to be taken very seriously, and the masking up the guard cannot be let down at this point in time. If you would just like to reiterate, that aspect for our viewers as well, given the fact that cases are rising right now.
Absolutely, and people, sort of all of us as citizens somewhere believe that this new strain Omicron is, less severe or anything. I think that is up to the medical experts. For us as citizens, let's keep our guard up, be masked up, and take extreme precautions.
All right, Aditya Thackeray, thank you so much for speaking to us here on Mirror Now. Extremely important points Aditya Thackeray raising there with regard to the state's electric vehicle policy and also with regard to COVID, saying that the numbers are rising rapidly. It is worrisome, but there is no need to panic or fear right now. It is important to keep your masks on and to keep all the COVID precautions in place.
Thank you. Thank you.